Ladies, we are here tonight. We on the show. How's everybody doing tonight, ladies and gentlemen? All right, so let's recap. So the thing about today, CM Punk, man, apparently showed up before Monday Night Raw backstage. Supposedly, they're saying that he wanted to clear the air with some guys that he had problems with, like the Triple H and the Miz. Um, he never liked the Miz. He was kind of like a drama queen and a diva. So I guess he went there to clear the air and like apologize for everything he had ever said about the Miz and stuff like that. And then with Triple H, that's what led him to leave the company in 2014. That he wanted to main event WrestleMania. And instead, Vince McMahon wanted to have a match with Triple H, which I think was going to be like a. I think the main event that year ended up being the triple threat match between Batista, Randy Orton, Randy Orton, Batista, and Bryan Danielson, were led to Bryan Danielson winning the championship, if I'm not mistaken. But CM Punk had told Vince McMahon that he's like, I just want to be the main event of WrestleMania that year, and that Vince McMahon had promised him that. And then he switched it up when he brought Batista back, and he wanted to be Batista versus Randy Orton, and then that pissed off CM Punk, and he didn't want to do the match with Triple H, not because I don't think it was because he didn't want to do the match with Triple H because he didn't think Triple H was good. He just wanted the main event spot instead of just getting a match in the middle of the card versus Triple H. So he went to apologize to Triple H for in 2014 not wanting to work with him at WrestleMania. And supposedly, then after that, Vince McMahon told him to leave. Vince McMahon was not at the show, but I guess they told him, hey, this guy is here. And he's like, I guess they told the head of security once to tell CM Punk to leave. But Dave Meltzer said he might want to come back, and he was trying to test the waters to see if how much they would welcome him in, like how friendly they would be. They said that most of the wrestlers were surprised. But who knows what's going on here? Is he trying to is he going there to just maybe clear the air out with some guys like the Miz or Triple H, or was this more like let's go test the waters and let's see how friendly they are with me? So who knows, man? Who knows? He's scheduled. Supposedly, they're saying he's going to come back on June 17, which is a show AEW has in Chicago. So we'll see what happens. That's crazy, ladies and gentlemen. Then they're talking about Trish Stratus. She said she for sure does want to eventually challenge for one of the women's championships. And she said, I would like to be women's champion again in the future. So we'll see maybe after this feud with Becky Lynch, she'll challenge maybe Bianca Belair or Rhea Ripley or whoever's champion by then. We'll see what happens. My guess is maybe they might drag this until SummerSlam. I don't know though, because they do have a lot of big pay-per-views coming up, right? They have obviously Backlash coming up in Puerto Rico and the Saudi Arabia show, Night of Champions, which is going to be in Saudi Arabia. And then you've got Money in the Bank in London. And then you got SummerSlam in Detroit. So a lot of big shows coming up. So they might not necessarily have to wait until SummerSlam. I don't know. We'll see what happens for that Trish Stratus Becky Lynch match. And then last, they said they're along with the brand split. They're also thinking about doing a pay-per-view brand splitting, which means that Raw would have their own pay-per-views and SmackDown would have their own pay-per-views. Oh, well, I don't know about that because unless they do a really good job balancing out the rosters, usually they suck. They completely overload one roster and the other one kind of sucks. So, yeah, they better do a good job balancing it out the rosters if they're going to try to maybe do separate pay-per-views for each show because, oh, wow, the card for the pay-per-views can be really bad, especially with Roman Reigns being a part-timer. Assuming SmackDown is, where the world champion is Roman Reigns on SmackDown, he's not going to be there for every show. So we'll see what happens. We'll see. I don't know if I like that idea because they always do a terrible job with the brand split. They always overload one show and the other show has maybe 2 or 3 stars. But I think that's about it as far as the news. I think we're ready for Monday Night Raw recap. Let's go. What is it? April 24. All right, let's go to work. Oh fuck! I can't find the one I usually do. But is it? No, I think it's this one. Hold on. All right, so here we go. So Monday Night Raw from Chicago. I thought the show was going to be really good because Chicago is usually like a top 3 city, right? For WWE, a lot of times that's where they get the best fan reactions. And this show kind of sucked ass, man. I'm not gonna lie. Honestly, the third hour was the best hour. Everything else kind of sucked. Maybe Triple H making the announcement of the new world champion and Cody Rhodes, maybe his promo, Finn Balor, and I don't know. Anyways, let's get going here. So Cody hits his music. He talks about how it's his first time back in Chicago since he had that Hell in a Cell match with Seth Rollins, where he wrestled that match with a tear bicep, and he shows a scarf. And he's like, you see this scar, Brock Lesnar, you're going to have to do a lot more to me to put me down. And then Finn Balor comes out and he offers him to join the Judgment Day. And then obviously Cody Rhodes says no. So he's like, well, if you're not with the Judgment Day, you're against us. So he challenges him to a match. So that would be later on the night. Cody Rhodes versus Finn Balor. All right, let's move along. Let's move along here. Then we get the Usos and Solo Sikoa versus Latino New World Order. New World Order got a new music, but it was a good match. I'm not gonna lie, it was a very good match. Cruz del Toro and Santos Escobar and Joaquin Wild did a great job in this match, even though they lost. I thought it was an entertaining match, man. At the end, Solo hit the Samoan spoke. And then Jay and Jimmy hit the 1D, and it was over. So the Bloodline wins the match. And then I think they did it on the microphone. They talked how they're going to for sure win the tag team titles on Friday. They're dedicating it to the Roman Reigns. And then in the middle of the show, you had backstage segments where first Sami Zayn goes to Jay. He's like, hey, do you realize if you don't win those tag team titles, you're in serious trouble? The fact that you're not even doing it for yourself, you're doing it for Roman Reigns, that's putting more pressure on you. And then so that gets into Jay's head. He goes to Jimmy, and Jimmy's all like fired up, motivated for Friday. And Jay's like, what about if we don't win, dude? What's going to happen to us? And he's like, what do you mean? Like, I was talking to Sami Zayn, and he told me if we don't win, we can be in serious trouble. Roman Reigns can seriously punish us. And he's like, stop talking to that motherfucker and everything. And then Jimmy goes to talk to Jay. Jimmy goes to talk to Sami Zayn, and he does the same thing. He tries to get in Sami Zayn's head, telling him, "Hey, what if you guys don't win? If you guys don't retain the tag team titles, Kevin Owens is going to turn on you. You don't think he's forgotten everything you did to him in the past? You, along with us, beat him up for months. Like, you don't think he's forgotten about that? So then he plans stuff on. So it's kind of mind games, right? It seems like Sami first tries to play mind games with Jay, and then Jimmy returns the favor playing mind games with Sami Zayn. And then, Sami Zayn goes up to Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens is mad at him for talking to the Usos, and he's all messed up. So, but that's all they did with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, just backstage segments. Unless they had a match for the dark, maybe they did for after the show. And then let's see, what else did we get? Let's see. The Street Profits versus Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander. The Street Profits won. Then Triple H comes out to make the announcement that there will be a new world champion, and then he presents it. It's pretty much the old world champion, except it has the WWE logo in the middle. But everybody thinks it's like a consolation prize because they just don't want Roman Reigns to lose. Hey, at least now they have a world champion. They still didn't explain how the winner's gonna be. They said they're gonna crown it at Night of Champions, but they haven't said like how, like a tournament or what. Pretty interesting to see how they crowned it, but Seth Rollins was the one that teased it the most. I think I don't think it's gonna happen, but I mean, Austin Theory was the other one that talked about it a little bit. We'll see what happens. We'll see who wins it and how they win it. right, let's move along. Then we get Damage Control versus Bianca Belair, Raquel Rodriguez, and Liv Morgan. Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez win. I think that the Damage Control's about to be split up, man. They're losing too much. They're kind of starting to look like jobbers. They might be done soon. Then Austin Theory comes out. Like I said, he kind of talks about the World Championship a little bit. And then he's complaining about it being in a triple threat match at a Backlash. And then Bobby Lashley comes on. He's like, I made a match. How do you make a match? How do you have that power? You can't even get a match at WrestleMania. And then Bobby gets all pissed. They start fighting. Then Bronson Reed shows up. And they start double teaming Bobby Lashley, Austin Theory, and Bronson Reed. And then once how they beat the hell out of Bobby Lashley, Bronson Reed beats the hell out of Austin Theory. And then they're both down, Bobby Lashley and Austin Theory. And then Bronson Reed just raising the United States Championship high. So we'll see what happens. But, hey, this is the first time I feel Bronson Reed is in the storyline. So that's good for him. Let's move along. Then we get Chad Gable versus Mustafa Ali. Mustafa Ali wins the match. Pendejo plays with Chad Gable. Jesus Christ. Let's see here. And then we get this is where the show kind of picked up finally as the start of the third hour started. Cody Rhodes and Finn Balor. Well, the show kind of, yeah, I mean, I thought the best segment, was honestly where it started picking up slowly was probably the segment between Bobby Lashley, Austin Theory, and Bronson Reed. But then it got kind of killed a little bit too with the Chad Gable Mustafa Ali fight. But then again, it for sure got better with Cody Rhodes and Finn Balor. Really good match here. Cody Rhodes wins at the end. He hits the pedigree, and then he hits the crossroads, and he wins. And then after that, Seth Rollins comes out, and he's the one that really talked about the world champion the most, saying that enough of a part-timer Roman Reigns. We finally have a champion here, a championship to fight for every night. Everybody's excited. So, and then what's his name? MVP and Almas comes out, and they start talking about their match at Backlash, and then Seth Rollins is like, "Dude, man, I'm gonna beat your ass, dude. You and I are once in a lifetime generations." But the reason is you were born like that. I made myself once in a lifetime generation. And I think they just stared at each other, right? And then Seth Rollins just walks away. My guess is Seth Rollins is going to win that match, right? He's going to win that match. Especially if they're teasing he's going to be the world champion. And then we get... all right, and then we get what? Let's see here. We get the main event. Damian Priest versus Rey Mysterio. This was weak, honestly. Not the match. I mean, good match between Rey Mysterio and Damian Priest. But the fact that this storyline was, I think it's because they're in Puerto Rico. So I guess they're that Bunny's the big star. So I guess that's why they're. But for a show in Chicago, people don't care as much, right? I think people would rather see maybe Cody Rhodes and Finn Balor be the main event. So Damian Priest having his match with Rey Mysterio. He gets disqualified. He hits him with a chair. He hits Rey Mysterio with a chair, so he gets disqualified. And then freaking Bad Bunny comes out with a kendo stick. He starts beating the hell out of Damian Priest with a kendo stick. Damian Priest runs away, and then Bad Bunny grabs the mic and says, "Hey, man, I'm back, but I'm not here to host Backlash anymore. Now I'm here to fight, man. You and me and Puerto Rico in a street fight." So now I guess, is that going to be the main event? So no more. They were teasing all this time a tag team match, right, between Damian Priest and Dominic Mysterio versus Rey Mysterio and Bad Bunny. But now it looks like they switched this. They're not going to be on one-on-one Bad Bunny and Damian Priest street fight. I guess I'm happy because Damian Priest was the only member at Judgment Day that didn't get a match at WrestleMania. So now at least he might potentially get the main event Backlash in his home country of Puerto Rico, along with the biggest, one of the biggest stars in history of Puerto Rico, and Bad Bunny. And my guess is that this is going to be one of those where I feel like throughout the match, a lot of interference from both Latino New World Order and the Judgment Day. I think both of them are going to be interfering heavily in this match. Because I just don't know how much Bad Bunny can go, right? He can go, right? He had those matches last year, right? But I don't know. We'll see. But my guess is the reason they made it a street fight, it's because they're going to have a bunch of spots where both the Judgment Day and Latino World Order are in the match. And maybe give maybe Bad Bunny a rest during the match or something, just in case he's not in the best shape or stuff like that. So we'll see how that goes. But I don't know, because my guess is it's going to be the main event, but also you do have that the Brock Lesnar Cody Rhodes match. So that is a thing. One of those is going to be the main event. We'll see what happens for Backlash. The show was really good. The final hour with the Cody Rhodes Finn Balor match, the Seth Rollins segment with Almas and the talking about the world champion, and then I guess the main event with Cody with Damian Priest and Rey Mysterio and Bad Bunny showing up. In the middle you had Triple H make the announcement. The beginning, I guess, Cody Rhodes and Finn Balor segment. But yeah, man, kind of a week for a Chicago show, not a very good show. I don't know. I feel like they're just trying to get to the draft at this point. I think once the draft is over and then one backlash comes and goes, I feel like they can get back into some good storylines. So hopefully, I think they're just kind of trying to get to the draft, and right now, hopefully, man. Once both the draft and backlash are over, we can get up much better storylines. But anyways, until next time, holla.